Alright, well guys, here is one-eyed dragon build. I've decided to implement some of the ideas from my previous builds because if you go solo on attacks and if they are wind based, no matter how much wind bonus you have, it's not that great. So we're going to use skills from dual swords section because the main weapon here for the set is dual sword, and I want it to be true to the one-eyed dragon set. And I've used most of the pieces except the headpiece, and I also used the guardian spirit as well. So we are real Date Masamune now with a different playstyle. This can be built in a lot of ways, but the problem is that I'm doing a very specific set build with the weapon. So I wanted to maximize the damage output, but you don't have to go this way. You can do it a lot weaker and play with it, but you will have trouble against some tougher human opponents. Versus yokai enemies and yokai bosses, you're pretty much safe no matter what you do. But versus humans, you're going to have trouble unless you do some tweaks. So let's get started. For stats, I went with Heart 99 because I went with change to Heart special effect on my dual swords because I need more ki to be more effective. For stamina, you can go a lot more than this and get agility B. That would be actually a pretty good thing. Strength 18 and 17 to wear the armor. And also I went skill 16 to wear Justice Ministry headpiece, so that I get the bonus for the moon skill, something, it's called moon something, I forgot. Others up to you, but get spirit 30. Magic and dexterity, you can put whatever you want, play with options here, but this spirit 30 is a must. As for the guardian spirits, I went with blue dragon one just to be complete Date Masamune thing. There are a couple of special effects here that we have not seen before. Damage reduced when attacking, which buffs your offense, elemental damage reduction when guarding, wind damage bonus, and close quarters damage when your health is at max. So this is very offensive guardian spirit, but the trouble here is in Way of the Demon and even Way of the Strong being so offensive is not the best idea. For Ayakomori, I went with Ayakomori as my secondary one to get more attack from behind and more wind damage bonus. For the allegiance, I went with Fuma clan because we get more wind damage. Now notice that in this video, every battle that you've seen, I did not choose Fuma clan, so I missed out on 10% more damage. Alright, now for the weapon. This is the top one. You're going to need wind damage on your dual swords, because this is a wind based setup. Now when we blaster the enemy, that's the status ailment name for the wind, our attack will go up because of the bonus from the dual swords. You can see close combat attack, enemy with status ailment, that's a special one just for this sword. And now we'll have close combat attack, enemy blustered. So that's a huge benefit if we just blaster the enemy. If you want, you can go change to heart, you don't need to. I like ki a lot of it with my dual swords, and heart gets me just that. For the rest of the pieces, for other armor sets, I went with killing strike damage from the cross sickle set, Warrior of the West, bow, Ravenwing rifle, and so on. This is the skill that I was talking about, Moon Shadow. This is very good when enemies blocking. This will destroy their ki. So if you want to play like that, you can. It's very good against humans, but pretty much useless against yokai. If you don't want this, you can go for 3 pieces for Warrior of the West set that will give you more close combat damage. Up to you. Now this is the main one, one-eyed dragon's armor. we can already see that we have more wind damage on our weapon with this set, but the problem is that we don't have wind based weapon from this set. The dual swords are not wind based by default, so you need to get that wind. That's why I said that wind is the best possible thing you can get on that sword, on those dual swords. And we also have increased damage for the consecutive attacks, which means the more attacks we do in a succession, the more damage we will do in the hit after. The problem with this is that it requires us to be offensive and use a lot of attacks in quick succession. Now the bonus is good, but not that great. For the accessories I went with more wind damage on one and the Asakani's Magatama, just to be able to reduce the armor bonus set requirement. And this is the status for the special effects. The one that we want here is, as you can see, wind damage plus 45.6. It was the second one up on the top. And the next one is wind plus 15. And at the bottom, wind damage weapon plus 50%. So we have around 100% bonus wind damage. And with the consecutive attacks, if we can spam some shit, then it's going to be massive damage wise. And to make it massive, we will cover now the learn skills section. Get dual swords, whatever skills that you want. I would suggest windstorm as the best one. You can also get water sword, but that one tends to miss a lot. For the mystic art, you can go whatever you want, whatever you like. Also get close combat damage increased versus enemies against enemies with full life. Any passive that boosts your key recovery or gets you more key is good and welcomed. This is the water sword that I was telling you about. Good skill, but the enemies will move out of it. That's the issue with it. That's why I prefer windstorm. One thing that you can use as well is the combo ender for the high stance. It can be really powerful. But these are traditional ones that you always pick up, these passive skills. Shrike is also very good against human opponents. Nothing really special here to add. Use typical skills that work the best. Use passives from other skill trees that complement everything. For example, more key from the sword build, from the sword tree. Then from the spear you get corner tiger to get close combat damage increase when our health is below 30%. We get more life from the axe, and we get cornered boar, which gives us damage reduction when our health is 30% or lower. From the Kusarigama, typical ones decrease damage of final blows and increase damage from behind. From the Odachi get grapple damage. That one is really cool because we will leave our enemies a lot of times without key. For the ninja one, get the increased throwing because we will need Medusa powder for human enemies. This will help us a lot. Also get fire shurikens. Fire shurikens are needed to get the discord status or confusion status on our enemies, because we are using a lot of elemental attacks from the Nioh magic tree and we won't have enough points. That's why we want fire damage, just to have options. But it's, as I said, it's optional. You don't have to go for it. I just prefer to have all my bases covered. You can go for increased recurrent damage if you use fire skills. Also get the shuriken bonus and better throwing speed of shurikens from the first line of the ninjutsu skill tree. Now as for the Omnia magic, get the awakening as always, get weakness, get sloth if you want, it will help against yokai bosses. Get two elemental shots. Now I would suggest getting water and lightning or earth, or maybe all three. You don't need wind and you don't need fire. So don't copy from my video here. Get water, lightning and or earth. Lightning is really good because with it you will slow down the enemy, so you don't need sloth at all. I would definitely suggest go lightning and then water or earth. Water would be pretty good as well because it decreases the damage that the enemy receives. From the others get carnage, steel protection, classic things, and also get all the guardian spirit talismans. This is the important one. As for my jutsu thingies, this is how it looks like if I'm fighting a human enemy. Earth Shot, Guardian Spirit Talisman and Medusa Powder. For the other section I went with Carnage and Steel to negate Carnage effect, Weakness and Quick Change Scroll. But you can do whatever you want here, this is not that relevant. This is where the build is flexible. You can choose your own playstyle here. This is my very high damage output playstyle that you've seen already in previous videos, and it works well with this because of the wind damage. We have so much wind bonus damage that if we use fast attacks and if we use a lot of attacks in succession, our bonuses from all of the other passive special effects will accumulate to something great. You can also switch Medusa Powder with Sloth Talisman. After a lot of testing and whatnot, this is the only option that is viable in my opinion. You can try to go for normal combos without the skills and whatnot, but the damage is not that great. You will suffer a lot. Simply the wind damage bonus cannot be so consecutively used and so successfully used up to the point where you will destroy your enemies. It's impossible without the use of skill and help of magic or ninjutsu items. It is completely optional how you want to play this, as long as you follow the equipment guidelines that I've shown you before. If you want to stay true to the one-eyed dragon set, this is the build you've already seen. Actually, this usage of items is almost the same as that max hit one-shot boss kill damage build that I did earlier, and you can follow footsteps from there. So the whole thing here is to use the Guardian Spirit Talisman to induce the Blustered effect on your enemy. Blustered effect reduces their attack power, if I'm not mistaken. They are also more susceptible to guard breaks. Then it's only a matter of using the second elemental attack, and that is through the elemental shot. In this case I'm using Earth Shot. You don't have to. I already told you water and lightning work much better than fire or wind, because you already have the wind through the Guardian Spirit Talisman and you already have the fire from the Fire Shuriken. So you have a lot of options with your elemental attacks. That way we will initiate Discord status or Confusion status on our enemy, which will increase the damage that they take, and they will have a lot more key trouble. It's the most damaging elemental attack that there is versus an enemy, but I think you all already know that. And then it's only a matter of using whatever you want to get your damage output out. You can use Medusa Powder to completely paralyze them and go behind and just do hell of a lot of damage from behind. That's where Ayakomori comes in play. Or you can slow enemies down if you want, or you can use Makibishi, Scatterball and whatnot. But the most important thing is that you do a lot of consecutive attacks in a short span of time. That's why Windstorm, Water Sword and that third skill that I'm using when I run with slashes of my two dual swords, it's initiated from the mid-stance. I forgot what the fucking name of that skill. I constantly forget what the name of that skill is. But if you want my suggestion, if you don't want to play like this using confusion and massive amounts of damage, if you want to do it, let's say, without cheating properly or something like that, then you should use that moon skill from the Justice Ministry set. That will reduce the amount of ki the enemy has, the human enemy has when he's blocking, and that will leave them vulnerable to finishing blows, grapple damage and whatnot. There are a lot of options, as I said, how you can play this out. It all depends on the usage of your skill and the usage of ninjutsu and magic spells. I've shown you probably the most high damaging version of the one-eyed dragon build. And that's it, lads. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do check out the description for the video about possible donations and explanations of it. And I'm going to see you soon with another build in the next couple of days.